Alluded to this earlier, but essentially now I want to show you the different types of knots. And I told you earlier how every knot's essentially the same, but depending on how you're pulling on the stitch can change the configuration of it, right? So a slip knot, a regular throw, all they can be the same thing, but it's all about how it lands. So let me tell you the basics of give you a demonstration first of some throws, and then we can go from there, right? So I'm gonna use my left hand for one-handed knots, and that goes down. That's a square knot. See, it comes out pretty evenly, but the square knot can become a slip knot if I pull on one end of the suture, and that's called my post. If I pull, notice what happens there. It slips, right? Slips. As long as I'm not pulling on this, it's gonna slip. In that case, maybe I can do another throw, and it's gonna continue slipping. But it's not like a sturdy knot. It's just gonna come apart. And the way people get away with this is that they just do a bunch of slip knots. So they just keep throwing them and throwing them and throwing them, and hopefully there's enough friction to stop this from coming apart. But what you want is to end it with a square knot. See, I'm gonna pull with both ends evenly and flat, and that's going to prevent everything from coming apart from here to here. First knot I want you to learn is called a two-handed throw, a two-handed technique. Okay, so what you're go ahead and grab like your shoes or something, something thick, so you can see what you're doing, and you're gonna go ahead and grab it like if you're riding a horse, right? That's kind of the mnemonic or the way to remember how to do this. So always, this is gonna be your baseline. This is home base. Okay, you're always gonna return to this position if you don't know what to do. Let me show you the two ways that you can throw things. So what you're gonna do is basically hook your thumb. Okay, so the thumb is gonna be the first one, and I'll show you the next one's gonna be the index finger. So I'm gonna start off with my thumb, and I'm gonna hook it underneath. I'm gonna place this suture on top of my thumb, and I'm gonna make an OK sign, and then I'm gonna pass it through, and see it went through the hole, and now I'm gonna lock it. Okay, so we start off with the thumb, right? Next we're gonna do index finger. So home base, right? Home base, I'm gonna hook my index finger underneath. I'm gonna make an X here. Okay, I'm gonna flip the OK sign. I'm gonna put this stitch on top, flip it, and now my left hand is gonna go forward and my right hand is gonna go back, because I want this to land square. If I go the other way, it's gonna twist a lot. So I want it to be like this. And now we're gonna go thumb, index finger, thumb, index finger, thumb, and index finger, right? You're just gonna basically alternate all the way through. And it should look something like this. The idea is once you get good at one hand, you got to practice on the left hand. So same thing applies. I'm doing my OK sign, I'm passing it through, and then I'm gonna do thumb and index finger, yep, and then thumb and index finger. But you want to do it, you want to be very comfortable doing it both hands. So as a thumb on one hand, a thumb on the left one, like that, right? The uglier the knot, the more secure it is. That's kind of the idea. So look how ugly this looks compared to the last one. The last one had a bunch of slip knots because I didn't pull evenly on the suture. But here, if you pull very evenly, it should look like that, and they should all interlock. So they're not going to come apart, and that's kind of the idea. Next knot I want to show you is called the one-handed technique. As the name implies, the last one required both hands to work, right? I'm using this hand, and I'm passing it through. The next one, you can have one hand chilling out here, and then the other hand does all the work, just like that, you see? But this hand is, my right hand didn't do anything. It's just kind of hanging out in space. So let me show you the technique here. And I'm going to start off with my right hand because most people are right-handed, but I'm also going to do some left-handed, okay? So again, both hands, you got to be ambidextrous. You're going to go to home base, right? Riding a horse. I'm going to cross one side in front of the other. It doesn't matter which side you're crossing over, but it is going to affect what throw you're going to. So if you have something like this, you have to do the karate chop. I'm going to explain what that is in just a second. But if I cross with this in front of the other one, you're gonna do the index finger. So that's gonna be a front hand throw. What I'm gonna do here is from home base, you're gonna make this configuration like a gun almost. Kind of wrap it on your thumb here and then index finger, and you're gonna make an X. And then you're gonna bring this thumb down because you wanna use that index finger as leverage to pass it down, okay? Back to home base. So instead of doing this, right, I'm gonna chop it. I'm gonna do a karate chop here, maybe 2 fingers. I'm gonna make some sort of an X here. And this is kind of tricky, okay? But you essentially wanna grab this part of the string with these 2 fingers, and I'm gonna go ahead and pass it through this hole. And you also want to alternate, so you want to make sure it lands flat, so like that. And now you're back to this configuration. So now we're gonna do a front hand throw, back hand throw, front hand throw, back hand throw, and then you just, the more practice you get, the faster you get, just like that. All right, so now I'm gonna do on the left hand for people who are starting off left-handed. So again, you're gonna do this thing, you're gonna make an X, you're gonna curve you're gonna do two things, right? So 2 things are happening simultaneously. I'm bringing, this is called a dip. So the dip is flexing, right? My thumb is coming down to assist this, and then I'm gonna extend my finger through the hole and pass it through, right? And then that's gonna set you up so you can do what? So you're back at home base, karate chop, make an X. So bring this over behind your fingers, and then you're gonna go ahead and grab it with these 2 and pass it through that hole that I made. And now there's a mnemonic here of what direction to cross. So notice that this technique involves using 1 finger. So my index, and this one involves grabbing it with 2 hands, like 2 fingers, sorry. Okay, so the mnemonic is, if someone's bringing you a shot, you take it, okay? So 1 shot is fine, bring it here, right? So bring it to me. 2 shots, oh, that's too much, bring it away. So whatever away and towards has to do with the hand doing the knot tying. So if my index finger is doing the throw here, 1 finger is fine, man. Like 1 shot is okay. It's not gonna kill you. 2 shots, oh man, that's too much. So that goes away. 1 shot towards me, 2 shots away from me. And that's how you can make sure that your knots are... Okay, this isn't pretty because it's like thick material, so I don't know. It doesn't work out too well. But it's just for demonstration purposes. Yeah, once you get kind of serious about the whole knot tying and getting the operating room, you can go ahead and grab something like this from Walmart. It's rather inexpensive, and just get some sort of monofilament. It slides really nicely, and make sure it's thin, so it's a bit of a challenge to sew. But same principles apply, right? Like in normal surgery, you're actually going to be throwing knots a lot of times with the non-dominant hand to be efficient, right? I mean, you can cross over and then tie with the right hand, but it's easier to do it with the left. And from a practical standpoint, if you're passing the needle with the right side. So what you're gonna do is, once you kind of have it, you start it off, and notice that this one comes under tension. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna throw my knots in the same direction. It really doesn't matter. What does matter is the fact that you're keeping this hand sort of loose, and you're pulling with your other hand, right? So with the right hand is doing the pulling. Once I'm at a place that I like, I'm going to use my left hand to cinch it down, and that shouldn't come apart. From now on, no more slip knots. I'm just going to try to do square knots. So these are supposed to come kind of flat. So remember, 1 shot towards you, 3 shots away, or 2 shots away, whatever. And you're just going to be doing that, right? Essentially what you want to get to is be able to close your eyes and just feel where the suture is, and just tie it like that. Whenever you practice, you know, you can go ahead and do 10 in the same direction. Not in real life, right? In real life, you want to alternate do a front hand and then a backhand. But if you're training, it's all about deliberate practice. So if you're struggling with the front hands, do a bunch of front hands, just like that, right? And I'm always gonna bring it down and cinch it, follow your knot, and then do like 10 backhands, right? So you're just working on that muscle memory. Oh. You can wear gloves. Honestly, I think gloves make it easier because gloves have grip and your hands can slide and they're slippery. So I'm not too sure if wearing gloves is the end all be all to make it harder, but you can if you want to. Surgery is all about minimizing the amount of knots that you do. So you'll never do something like this in real life, right? In real life, you're probably gonna do 2 slip knots and maybe, I don't know, depending on the suture type, maybe you need like 4 or 5 throws, maybe a couple, it depends. It also depends how easily it slides. Some of them are monofilaments, like this one, it slides very nicely. The braided ones are gonna have so much friction, so you wanna be careful. So yeah, practice. It's the name of the game.